6 out of 10 micro and small enterprises had defaulted on their loans by the end of June, reflecting a total business environment, a tough business environment characterized by a spike in the interest rates and the prices of goods, inflation. 6 out of 10 could not repay their loans. This is a new report by the MSE Tracker Survey published by Central Bank of Kenya and other partners, which ranks financial institutions, financial inclusion among small businesses, that shows nearly 60%, 60.7% of small businesses had defaulted on their loan. Now, this bracket, the business bracket that we are talking about, and I think I wanted to get the whole picture before I say what I wanted to say at that point. Most of these businesses are owner-operated businesses, or in simple terms, sole proprietorships or partnerships. I think extension, sole proprietorships and partnerships, because even partnerships to some extent are also some small entities, but mostly sole proprietorships. The most popular form of business in Kenya's largely informal economy recorded the sharpest increase in the default rate at 35%. Most businesses are grappling with different challenges, and this is including poor sales. They cannot pay their loans because they took the loans, they bought their products or established their businesses, but the turnover is not there, or the sale is low. And when the sale is low, they're not getting impact. So they know that they don't have, the business is there, but they just have stock. High inflation rate, because when the prices are high, that's why people tend to look for alternatives or even withdraw or change purchase or consumption patterns. High interest rates, the banks increase their interest rates. So remember, if you're paying a loan, you need to pay the principal and the interest. And when the interest is high, there seems to be a problem. And again, when the interest is high, people are also not borrowing even for, not everyone is borrowing for business. There are also those who are borrowing for investments. There's someone who is borrowing to build a house, someone is borrowing for road construction because he's got that tender. And when the interest is high, those who are supposed to borrow for investments are not borrowing. And so if they're not borrowing, if they reduce their borrowing, that means that employability is low. And then there is reduced cash flow. The more people don't borrow money, so government just have a lot of saving, or banks just have a lot of saving, but people are not borrowing, and plunge those into loan defaulting. I don't want to bombard you with all those economy and and all that money matters, because I'm not an economist. I was actually reading a report. The moral hazard has shut the Hustler Fund. That is what I wanted to get. That moral hazard has shut the Hustler Fund. Default is seen as a moral hazard in economy. It has shut the Hustler Fund because this report is saying borrowers on Hustler Fund are defaulting on payments. It is the same report. Are defaulting on payments at a higher rate than those commercial banks, SACCOs, microfinance, pointing to a moral hazard. And that is common with, of course, state-backed financial programs. There's that which is saying some people are borrowing Hustler Fund even to repay the commercial loans. Of course, with the commercial loans, it's more disciplined, and it's more of a disciplined and structured borrowing. But Hustler Fund, there is a very clear point here. This report is saying only 60% has paid. This is against government's position if these people cannot manage the businesses, or the businesses, there is a bit of that shut, they're getting affected. Now, this report, some deadly blunder here, very interesting twist, that immediately this report was released, it's by the Daily, the People Daily, not Business Daily. There are a clique of government state officials that have started blaming institutions for releasing data or some information or research that are damning the image or denting the image of government. You cannot fight with facts. You cannot fight with facts. And some of us in the political pundits, we have always analyzed the Hustler Fund with different lenses. When we analyze Hustler Fund with the political lens, we are blamed, or some clique of people see it as politicizing the matter or politicizing the project. Well, in this real sense, what this report points out is that Hustler Fund is seen as a political token, and the intention is seen not to be achieved. Kindly subscribe to our channel. We are running 100 subscribers challenge. This is challenge of pulling 100 subscribers in a day. So what are you doing? How is it done? This is what you need to do. As you watch this video, you just need to check the subscription tab there. Have you subscribed? Then if you realize you've not, when the yellow is still showing subscribe, just click that subscription. Then there is a bell besides it. When you click that bell, you will always be notified whenever I produce a podcast. And so you don't miss your chance of, you don't miss any of our podcasts. And I want to say thank you for those who are sharing our podcast in different platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, what does this show in terms of the governance? What does that show Kenya Kwanza? What do William Ruto needs to understand in respect to this? Number one is the Hustler Fund, which was a state-backed project, is not achieving its objective of sucking up entrepreneurship from the lower cadre. I will not get tired of repeating, and I think we'll just need to agree on this line. The Hustler Fund was rolled out. First, it was an imaging of the hustlers, because that was a campaign slogan. But that was on the political angle. But as an intervention to access to financing, there was a plan that when we boost access to financing, the rationale was that many people will get into business and will spur entrepreneurship at the lower cadre. The people, the mama mboga, the mtu wa kuchoma mahindi, the mtu wa mayai, the butchery person. And when we cite entrepreneurship, that was the textbook economics with that Hustler Fund. When many people are doing businesses, then government shall rein its hands on tax collection by increasing the tax base. But let me tell you what has happened. Now, that was the intention and that's the interpretation. So what has happened, or rather why it has actually failed, not why we are in that quagmire, and we use that word. Why we are in a quagmire is this. We rolled this project in November 30th last year. So nearly 9 months, not 9 months, I think 8 months after the project, the government unleashed a finance bill that opens its terror, that unleashed its terror, the tax terror on the population. Tax terror that we casted our nets, the population, to collect anything taxable, and everyone needed anyone to be taxed, everything to be taxed. While the real intention of spurring economic growth at the grassroots level was not achieved. And this report is coming in September, when 3 taxes, there is another tax to be initiated, and reforms in the education sector, where Kenyans there is a demand for Kenyans to spend more. Just today there is a story, I think Citizen did that story, where third best performed student in KCSE could not even get money to come to Nairobi University. Leave alone fees, even money, transport to come to Nairobi, and was still stranded at home. So we unleashed the tax terror on the population. Well, our initial plan of spurring economic growth at the grassroots, remember, it was never achieved. And that's what it's showing, that it was never achieved. Why? We unleashed terror. So there is a lot of money, demand for a lot of money going on. Consumption pattern goes down, consumption rate goes down, but us, we are collecting the tax. Third interpretation from this is the architecture of the Hustler Fund is not inclusive, or rather it has failed because of isolative approach. And what am I saying? The architecture of access to financing is poor. And I remember I analyzed in this bold podcast, for those people who are already following our podcast by last year, you can remember I said, it is not wrong for a state-backed financial solution. But if you want access to financing, you must be inclusive. In fact, you'll then leverage on the private sector. But if you unleash a product or a program that is isolative, not even competing with the private sector, without including them, then you're doomed to fail. What is the report saying? People are paying commercial loans. And what does that mean? Commercial loans, people who are paying commercial loans are maybe mostly salaried, and of course with the investments gesture net. But just unleashing this, if we could allow, we could then psych up and get a legal framework, not even a legal framework, but a partnership framework with the private sector, the same Hustler Fund, then it's in a commercial product. It's a commercial bank. It's domiciled in a commercial bank. Some KCB, some cooperative, government also has stakes. The national bank belongs to government. And then it's more managed, that it doesn't look like a political token where you simply say, someone have a phone, click, plus this, have it, and it goes. I want to give you, as I finish, I want to tell someone, government, if you listen to this podcast, and I want you to get this. I was in Jacaranda, around Jacaranda, just using the real story. I went there to get, I went to a bureau. I was accompanied a friend to get to a bureau. So when we were seated there, of course when you go to the bureau, you try to talk, ask them who you are, this and that. There was a lady who came there and was just consolidating women, telling them, to Shapata, we've got 6, we are waiting for 10. So 10, and this woman just collected women, some of them were just even bypassers, so that they will get the threshold of 10 for them to apply for some Hustler. I think there is a product for women, for loan targeting women under the Hustler Fund. And they confronted us, asking her, wait, are you sure that all these people you're just collecting, because you even collect, some people are passing, are you sure that these people are going to invest this money, or you're simply doing it because you're going to get a commission, or you're simply doing it for people to take that money? That's what we're talking about. We must make sure that a state-backed financial solution must be backed by a financial literacy program, and the financial literacy program must ensure that it's more based on business-friendly practices. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my take. I hope you've gotten into that better. Thank you.